Starting from that na vitu zingine nyingi, how will you describe the most probably what will happen to her in from the psychological point of view?
It's very unfortunate. Let me tell you, Steve, whatever happened to that woman, kwanza kabla niongelele the woman herself, it's opened up wounds in women's hearts. Any woman mwenye ameangalia ile kitu can relate to that. Some of us women who have experienced such injustice before, so when it happened, it was a trigger. So even every woman and every son, every man who is empathetic, compassionate enough, who has daughters, who has mothers and sisters, is traumatized. Yeah, we are traumatized beyond how we can explain it. Leave alone that. Let's come to the lady. If we talk to that lady and ask her, have you ever experienced such a violence before? She will tell you severally. Mpaka imekuwa it's her norm. Yeah? But deep down her heart, she feels she should not live such a life. She feels she should have a peaceful life where she's loved, yeah? Where she's given the affection. Every human being wants to be loved and shown affection, but her story speaks different. Yeah. So whatever happened that time opened even further the wounds, and they become even septic. Yeah. Unajua there's a difference between a clean wound and a septic wound. That's a very infectious wound. They're still septic. As much as we are saying wameshikwa na watapiwa fine, yeah. Don't assume that this woman now will bounce back to where she was, unless she becomes intentional to heal those issues. And if you talk to that lady again, she will tell you hii shida hii kuanzia huko, ile incidents hivi ilikuwa ni kitu ile, that's a tip of an iceberg that we are seeing. Yeah, huko chini it is very, like, you can't imagine how big it is. So it's going to change this woman's life, and it depends on how she's going to navigate through this. Yeah, it's like a thin line between her navigating and finding herself and getting out of the mess and getting up and sprouting like a human being, or she gets worse. Yeah, because that trauma will make her, maybe she wants to escape from the reality, she will go into drugs, she will go into getting it even worse, because addictions, because imagining what happened to her causes her a lot of pain. So it's two-way, depending on how the environment will enable that. Yeah? But unfortunately, our environment that does not enable healing to happen, because there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of tripping. Hata ukiangalia kwa comments, you see how people are saying, alienda kufanya nini huko? I'm speaking Kikisi. Alienda kufanya nini huko? Mbona aliolewa mahali ingine? Anafaa kurudisha dowry, yeah?
Yeah.
I even get confused. Why are we even giving dowry? Is it an appreciation, or you are buying a human being? Yeah? So there's a lot. It depends where she will land, but I will encourage her to go through therapy. Yeah? Because even the children, we can't even explain. If I take you back and I tell you to visualize you seeing your mother being helpless like she was, the rage that builds in you, that child anaweza sema nikikuwa mkubwa, wherever I come across the man, mwenye anataka kuleta shida, I'll kill that person. How do people become serial killers? Yeah? Any person who will raise a voice to a woman like I saw my mom did, I'll make sure I kill that person. Yeah?
Yeah.
That child will either become abusive, like what he saw, or I heal from the issues, overcome, ama akwe ana receive abuse. Yeah? So it is so huge, it's so complicated, but I'm sending grace to that woman to find healing, and when the woman will heal, children will heal. Yeah.
Wow, well, that's great. And Jairus, the kids are involved. Some of them waliforcewa pia kufanya hizi vitu, and the internet, like people are when amesema people are asking really insensitive questions. Alienda kufanya nini huko, mbona alikubali mahari kalipo, as if yeye ndio unajua, it is even taken off their hands. Women saa zingine ukisikia hata baba amesikia hapa kwamba zinaweza toka nzuri, anaweza promote hiyo kitu ifanyike haraka, even sio mwanamke. And once it has been done, the transaction is between the parents. It is not even her role.
Actually,
she has no power.
When he came to negotiate about dowry at my home, and then it reached a point, and then men wameitana alafu wameenda huko kando kuongea, I felt some type of a way. Like, now it's beyond my control. I mean, what is this?
I think hata wewe ulisaidaniwa at some point.
I didn't speak, they were speaking for me. They negotiated entirely, and I was given a figure. I am there, I was just told, have you made up your mind that this is the girl you want? I said yes. They said okay. Now they started negotiating, and I was given the figure.
like can you sign here? Acha tupige deal.
But you've asked a good question, or you were about to ask a good question.
I was about to ask. So when all these things are happening and the kids are involved, in fact the woman is powerless on whether the dowry should be returned or not. It's not her thing. And she's a human being. And we saw her resist kutupa mchanga kwa sababu as a human being she had a choice to make. And then kuna watoto. All these wakati zina happen na internet when you can forgiving, now hizi vitu zita pop up hata kwa ule mtoto mdogo mwenye ajana. From a mental health perspective, what do you think is happening to the family, especially the kids, or will happen?
A lot. Let's just start by breaking down trauma in the simplest way. What is trauma? Trauma is a lived experience that has high stress levels, significantly high stress levels. And that very experience has extremely high stress levels. Number one, the kids and the wife are going through loss and grief in the first process. Okay? They deserve a time to go through the denial, the bargaining, the anger, the depression, and finally the acceptance. All right?
Yes.
That process of loss and grief has been hijacked by a traumatic experience of angry people who have their own interests. All right? So number one, they have a whole huge loss and grief process to deal with. As they are dealing with another loss and grief that is different, that is traumatizing experience. Okay? Now, you have to establish that if it has to get to that place, like she said, we are only seeing the tip of the iceberg in the ocean, but then there is a huge iceberg under water. That means the violence has been going on a long time. There is very huge dysfunctionality in this family. That means these children have been going through adverse childhood experience, which are the most the thing that modules or models broken souls. All right? So these traumatizing experiences, being in a violent family, has already traumatized the children. Now it's a 10x experience in public of trauma for them, with trending videos, and even for the woman as well. All right? So even if these people have been arrested and put to custody and there will be a case and they will be incarcerated, the most important process for this woman and the children is getting psychosocial support so that they can know how to cope with the situation as it is now. They get to mourn their father and their husband or the ex-husband. They get to mourn properly so that they go through the loss and grief process. And then they now need also psychosocial support to be empowered emotionally to know how to deal with this experience, because it's going to bring shame and guilt to them later in life. Throughout, you will be that child whose mother was forced to throw soil into the father's grave, and then ukakunyusha hiyo soil. So there is that would stick with this boy, and then this boy is going to get to teenage life, where it is the stage will be, according to developmental stages, will be identity crisis versus role confusion. Now the internet never forgets. these incidences are going to resurface in his life when he's trying to find his identity, and that is going to put him in a crisis if he's not empowered emotionally now at this moment. Okay? And if this boy, this girl has experienced this violence a really long time, then in the making is a broken soul that will attract
Another broken
brokenness. In the making is a soul that will stay in a pattern of brokenness, in a pattern of violence, and that probably will go into generations ahead for this boy. For this woman, it is a lot to deal with for her right now. The shame and the guilt is solid for her right now because she is now a grown person and she can feel the shame, she can feel the guilt, she can feel a lot of ridicule and a lot of verbal violence, a lot of emotional violence ongoing at the same time. So if you think about it, she's gone through all the forms of gender-based violence that there is. She's gone through emotional, she's gone through psychological, she's gone through physical, she's gone through, I had some things happen that can be termed as sexual violence as well. So this is one person going through all these forms of violence in the limelight. 50 million people in the country and billions of people all over the world knowing that this thing happened.
Like she can be identified anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anywhere, right now in whatever country.
If she steps out to town right now, people will surround her.
They will.
She steps out in town, the media is there, everyone wants to get an interview because that at the end of the day will convert to eyeballs and clickbaits.
That's
So it is a lot for her to deal with right now. She doesn't have a normal life. She can't step out and continue with her life normally. She has to wait for some time until this thing cools down so that she can have a normal life. And that is taking away her livelihood. That is taking away from her dignity. That is taking away from her interpersonal relationships with other people. Potentially it will affect her marriage. So it's a lot for her to deal with. The huge win for her will be getting psychosocial support and justice at the same time.
Yeah, and even for the child, this boy mwenye ni boy wa girl, I don't know. She was given there was a reason to why they did that. They wanted to bind her, and maybe they are telling her, if you detach yourself from this family, something will happen. Yeah? So you realize this girl will grow, even if something happens. Atasema, is it because?
Oh yeah.
Not knowing that some even bad things happen to good people. Yeah, so atakuwa like ako stuck. Even if she saw the mother being abused by those people, she must be affiliated by themselves because alipatiwa udongo akameza. You know, the imaginary binding can pull her down unless she gets to rise above that circumstance. Alafu akwe supported and mentored to know that whatever happens has no power over you. You are a child of the Most High, and it's the one who is in charge, and yourself are in charge of your own life. If she doesn't get that, that girl will be stuck for the rest of her life.
So if there's there are organizations that are taking center stage for this case, there is the government, there is the public, there is the media, there is the organizations that are coming in place. I'm told the case was handed to FIDA, and FIDA is handling it. If there is something that FIDA should be very keen about, is the mental health of this woman and her children. Very keen.
Might you be aware whether FIDA offers such services?
I want to believe they do, because when you're dealing with women rights, the mental health and health is a right for women as well.
So my heart really bleeds for the kids. And of course for the mother, because when the kids are not okay, the mother, she's the recipient. I went to their home, and as we were preparing to do the interviews, the mother could not sit properly. She was in fact, she had gone through CS, and another soon after CS, because she was taking drugs, the HIV and stuff. She developed a problem in the intestines, went for another surgery. And then she was being beaten, and anakanyagwa tumbo. The wounds were open now, and she was in pain and crying, covering her face like in shame. And the daughter came and said, "Mom, sasa mbona unalia? Zile zenye zinaka ni kama anaka, you shouldn't cry." And what hurt me most is Unajua anko na shosh yule wa Kisii waliniambia wewe ni mtu mbaya sana, na wewe na shosh wa hapa wewe ni mtu mbaya sana, ati ni wachunge sana, mnaweza niua. And I was like, the mother now almost fainted, like she stopped crying and just akakatwa hapo. Then mpaka mtoto akatolewa, hataki kutoka hapo. You feel, yani it's a very confusing and deep moment. I wonder, is there a way that you guys offer psychological support for kids, especially sababu it is a whole other story, because even we grown-ups, we have to first consent or agree that we need this help for it to work. For kids, how do you do it?
First of all, that child indicates that she's still in a shock. And I could wish if she could be given a chance to speak whatever she wants to speak, like she was speaking. But normally we don't do that. Mtoto atapeleka kukwambia wacha kusema hivyo, yeah. But that child should be given a ground to just spit whatever that child wants to spit, even though it's very tough for the mother. It's very unfortunate. Yes, we have a way of dealing with children. How old was that child?
She's 9 years now.
9 years now. 9 years you can support that child as an individual. But when that child is younger, you support the mother. You empower the mother on how to handle, like knowing that when the child comes and starts expressing the displeasure, you give that ground. But you see, the mother should be in a position of healing for her to support that child in a good way. Yeah. But when the child is 9 years kuendelea, now that when you can do an intervention, but again it takes time for a child to trust a new person, a stranger, knowing that the people wenye alikuwa expect affection and love from have betrayed her. But as psychologists, we know how we navigate through. Sometimes always we have toys that communicates. Those children come and then they see those things and they start playing with those toys. Those toys are very different in terms of shapes, in terms of facial expression, blah 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 blah. So for example, if that child comes and sees a toy of a man who is very masculine and maybe uglish, that child will start expressing her experience with a man. Anza kusema sipendi babangu alinifanyia hivi, hapa mtu mlani mwenye alinifanyia vibaya, yeah. If it's a sexual abused child, ataenda ashike kama ni katoi kamsichana karembo hivi, ataanza kumundress, anataka kuangalia. I mean, there's the way we learn when they are communicating distress and displeasure through playing with the toys. That's how we need it. But mostly and most importantly, we empower their parents. We encourage their parents to heal, to reparent, so that they are able to create a safe space for those children, because it's a lot and it's confusing. It's not even the business of a child to tell a mother not to cry. Now the child is forced to grow up to be now the person who is comforting the mother. Yeah, so at the end of the day, this child will grow up being a gangster. Hadil na feelings zake, hajui kufeel zake, because ako very into people's feelings, to address people. That child will be lost in other people's business. Yeah,
fix or can't fix.
Exactly.
There are two things I want to pick up from what she said. There are two things that we should be very keen with. Number one, parentifying children. All right.
Making them.
Yes. Yeah. Number two, this is especially firstborns really suffer that. And then number two is something called emotional incest. As a parent, especially a mother, in a toxic relationship, you dump your emotions to your children. Unaambia vile baba yake ni mbaya, unaambia vile baba yao vitu wanafanya. You tell your children how bad your father is. That, and then they come out as supportive to you. Mami usijali, things will be better.
So they have to act good.
Yes, exactly. This emotional support that you need, you're supposed to get it from your spouse, your friends. Therapist. Now you're getting it from a child. That is emotional incest. All right? And then now, in a marriage that is not working, that children, by the way, marriages don't work. It is the people in the marriage that put in the work. Okay? Marriage is a framework. Marriage is a framework. Marriage does not work. The people in the marriage
Yeah.
put in the work towards making that relationship work.
Yeah.
All right.
I write that somewhere.
So, if the father is mischievous, sexually doing things out there with women, do not tell the children that this is how your father is. Let the children see for themselves when the father
They grow.
is toxic around them. Let them see that by themselves. But don't feed the children, because these children should have a relationship with their father that is independent from your relationship with you. In separation, children should not be separated from their father. Sometimes unapata mwanaume ako loving to his children, but then it's not a good partner to the other partner. If this man is not harming the children intentionally, like consciously harming the children, still that relationship with the children can go on. Okay, so long as there is proof that it is not affecting them physically. However, again, the problem is unapata this man starts using the children to hurt the woman that they have separated with. He start feeding, mama yako ni mjinga, mama yako ni malaya, mama yako anafanya hivi na hivi. They start poisoning the child. Right? Which is wrong. The way I said, mothers should not poison their children against their father, and fathers should not poison their children against their mother. Should be independent relationships. And during separation, parents need to explain to their children that your father and I are separating, and explain that sometimes when adults come together in marriage, they intend to be happy together. However, when they realize that they are not happy together, they can separate, and it is normal. That is why your father and I have separated, because we realized we are not happy together.
Yeah, you don't give too much information.
Yes.
He cheated on me. He did this.
Now you are turning them against
Exactly.
So I know we'll continue having this conversation another time,
Sure.
but my final question to you before we talk about your book, to both of you. I recently had one of the greatest journalists we have from Kisii, and you have said something, both of you, that made me think that she might need help, because it's in public, so I would say it. When she was starting her career years, a director used to tell her, "You're too dark, you can't," at a camera ikuone. "You're too dark at a camera." Sometimes people make the such jokes, but to her, it was so damaging. And she cried on the interview. And even currently, if you dare tell her that, "Oh, you're beautiful," she says she feels like it's stabbing you. She wants to kill you. What are you saying? What are you telling? Like it affected her.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? And how instead of her now feeling good when you tell her you're beautiful, how come it turns the other way?
Yeah, actually people project their insecurities to others. Mostly we hide in jokes, and we are doing it jokingly, but you also even know that you are just unamulima. You are affecting this person, but we hide in jokes. Some people are too shallow, like they don't have a conversation that they can have, and because they're too anxious, like you can't even be siwezi kuja tukae na wewe ninyamaze na unyamaze, they become too anxious. So the only way they can spark a conversation, the only way they know, it's by criticizing you. So I could wish that lady to know it has nothing to do with her. And I could wish that lady to know, even the people with light skin, they are criticized. Be either you are light skin, be either you are dark, be either you are tall, be either you are short. Every those people, if they come and give you their experience, they were criticized. Be either you have thick legs, you have thin legs. Not because they are bad and they are not beautiful, because these people had insecurities and they were projecting. We have a sick society. So she shouldn't asikasirikie mgonjwa, asiende chini juu ya mgonjwa. Those people are sick. That woman must be very beautiful, but she is right. You can confess, right? But because of that, she shouldn't give that power to that person. Let her choose herself and believe in herself.
And also, this is about her, all right? So I think my recommendation for her is to just take a personal healing journey, and know that she should work on her self-esteem and a self-worth and a self-concept, okay? Once you build yourself enough in your confidence, hata huyo mtu akikwambia hivyo, you
This
will
is a
just
sick person.
It's a
You're
sick
like,
person. You will be, when
sick.
you're emotionally empowered, you will identify that this is just a sick person. All right?
Kwa akili yako unasema bro kuna shida.
Sometimes
Bro,
you
kuna
confront
shida.
them.
Bro,
yeah?
kuna shida.
Unajua, a question like, what do you mean by that?
Yes.
Ama what do you want to communicate? To someone who, you know, that person who criticizes is very immature.
Yes.
Mtoto. Ukimurushia hiyo, it blocks that person. It scares the hell out of that person.
Oh yeah.
And then you take
They're
your
dealing
power
with
back.
something,
Exactly.
They project that you're disrespecting me when you're talking back to me, but they know within that.
Actually, if you know that, what do you mean by disrespect? Ukiuliza huyo mtu anaenda
You
chini.
cannot say it. You just
Exactly.
wanted to.
Yes,
Exactly.
explain to me. Yeah.
Actually,
So-
yesterday someone was we had an issue with Kanjo. Walikuwa nataka kuweka ile kitu. We are like, we didn't see the person who was collecting and we couldn't stand at the car
And
waiting
wait.
for exactly. So we were waiting for you when umekuja but umekuja ukitaka kufunga nini gari yangu, yeah? And then she's
We
like,
should start this.
you know, this woman is too much. Yeah, she's becoming too much. I was like, dude, what do you mean by too much? And then he was like, he went stuck. Because people are not used to people returning and taking their power and wanting to understand what you mean. So if you learn such skills, you realize that huyo mtu atakuface tena. You will create space for the right people in your life. Because ukiuliza huyo next year atakuja kwa side yako. So it's about her getting empowered. Let her seek nini therapies, nini whatever sessions.
So it's just a call for everyone. Please take a personal healing journey. We've gone through trauma issues, all of us. If you grew up in an African household, you must have gone through trauma in one way or another.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are very few families who are not traumatized growing up, especially millennials and even Gen Zs. As we go, there are different trauma issues. For us, it was a militant kind of upbringing.
Straightforward.
For the children we have now, it will be different because they are all on their screens.
It
and
will be to protect parents.
Too protective
too much
parents.
exposure to social media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have different trauma issues with everyone. All right? Whatever that you've gone through, please take a personal healing journey. Reflect. Do those basic things that we talk about that you should do for you to heal. Journaling, taking walks, being reflective, doing meditation, doing yoga,
Reading
physical exercise,
self-help
reading
books.
that especially, reading self-help
How
books.
many books have you read
This year?
for self-help?
Yeah, I bought one.
You bought.
You're getting another
Good
one.
job.
Oh yeah,
So,
I'm getting another
Please
one. Yeah.
take that journey, build yourself, build your emotions, build as you are growing physically,
You should.
grow emotionally.
Yeah.
So that when people are attacking you from an emotional aspect, you can tackle that. All right? You realize when you're in an argument with someone, we both have a friend who does this. When you're in an argument with someone and someone attacks your personality, that means this person wants to break you by attacking your personality. All right? But when you well build emotionally, you will know
When
that
you've
what
made
this
peace with that
person is doing.
personality,
You
you're like,
will know.
dude, I know what you're
Yes,
talking
you
about.
will
I've
know.
been with myself for these years. You've known me for 10 years. You want to
Exactly.
tell me who I am? I know who I am.
Exactly. Why are narcissists thriving? They know how to eat into your self-esteem, into personality, so they make you feel worthless, so that when they value you to kidogo, it gives you a sense of
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, kumbe
This
tena
time I
naweza
notice.
exactly.
Yeah, I know that our friend will know that we are talking about it, but I will say something that you've said. I don't care. We are saving the nation, sir. So you've said something that even like they can just say you are asking, what do you mean by disrespecting you? People
What do you
use
mean by being
people-
too much?
Mhm,
I
but,
mean,
yeah. People kind of say throw what they are doing to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they accuse you of what they are
Actually,
doing.
they were
Like-
too much. They were too dramatic.
So, my friend keeps saying you have a low self-esteem issues. Self-esteem.
Wako na self-esteem.
Exactly. In most cases. Because when you have self-esteem issues, you have what you call empathy and compassion. I can't keep on coming to you telling you have low self-esteem because I know where I've come from.
Yeah.
I know where you are coming from. You have a story. You have your own story. So it's not something that I should use against you. If there is, it's empathy and
By
compassion.
the way, now I agree with you because anytime I've felt my esteem is so high, I really care about the rest.
Exactly.
And when I am low, I can attack.
Exactly. That is
When you are attacking, when you tell someone who has low self-esteem, that means you are attacking.
Yeah.
That means
You are the
actually
one.
have low self, because when your self-esteem is properly built, you have empathy.
Yeah.
Nothing moves you. Really.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you guys for showing up. And on a lighter note, now I'm finishing with this. The other day I went to watch Harambee Stars versus Gabon, and there were guys arguing before the match ends. There were guys arguing. They didn't know that I'm Mkisi. They were arguing like mbona around here and mbona ni Waluya na Jaluo peke yake wanacheza ball. It's tunaona ukabila hapa sijui. They are arguing. Mwingine akamwambia bana wacha sisi tunajua kila kabila iko na strength yake. Ukitaka kama ni makanjo na ma security guys naenda kwa Waluya na Wakisi. Hizi vitu tumegawana tu naturally.
Can imagine.
So we need but to start the psychology of a Kanjo guy and a Getman. Because they are I don't know, they have issues that need to be dealt with. You need to study them. Ujue ni kwa nini they are always willing to attack and suppress and
wanakwanga kwa war all the time. Actually, that's what I was telling you, the Kanjo. Actually, we are not fighting. I'm a human, you are a human. Can we deal like humans? Because let us separate this issue and let us now interact respectfully. Yeah, because they're at war all the time. When you are not like unataka tumalize niende. Exactly.
You want to make me feel like unajua
they even say unanidharau juu
kwa sababu ni
na hiyo imetoka wapi?
Ni kama most orphans and widows, people who are underprivileged, let's say in the society, mostly also suffer from that. Unaniangalia hivyo kwa sababu
victim mentality. So kwanza hawa mostly, but we are not generalizing. Some people are well balanced. We have experienced some askaris and you said what? Kanjos who are well balanced, and you can have a conversation and it's productive. Yeah.
I've yet to meet one. So so we have a book here called The Art of Becoming. It is a serious one. I can see we can discuss it forever.
Yeah.
But I want us to spend a minute talking about it and invite people to the lounge. And as I'm offering to do a free promotion of this and an advert for it.
Thank you.
Also asking if I talk to, because I'm in touch with FIDA on the case we were talking about.
Yes.
If I talk to them and they may be not offering that service for emotional support, psychological support, could Ether Wellness chip in?
Gladly.
Absolutely, gladly. Absolutely. We'll be ready to partner with FIDA to help this lady navigate through this very difficult, challenging, and our children as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of you. Ether Wellness Center. Tell us about the book.
This is The Art of Becoming. It's a book that is focusing on an individual, not a community, not a culture, not a religion, not a group of people. Someone who wants to choose herself or himself. It's more to a woman, but if a man uses it, still he can get the roadmap to becoming, and he will get a chance to really get to question the cultural beliefs and the religious beliefs that are really not serving us. It's a book that, if you can see, it's a lady who has broken, but through this brokenness, light got in, and there's something getting out of it. It's a flower. Yeah. So I don't know what has happened in your life. You have your story. So this book is about you owning your story, making peace with your story, forgive yourself, others, and God. Sometimes you realize the concept of God is so twisted to the point sometimes we question God because we don't really got a chance to understand who God is. Because someone who was bestowed that power to be the second God, maybe who is our fathers and our parents, did not do the right way it's supposed to be done. Yes, they did the best they knew, but they did not do it to a way that served you as a person. This is a roadmap to you becoming that authentic person that you want to become.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It is like tripping. It's like a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
And I like it that you said it's not about a group of people or who. It's just about you, individual.
Exactly.
So, and this journey, specifically you said of becoming
Yeah.
a companion for an African
Lady.
Is this a sentence? We can say it's the art of becoming a companion, right?
Yeah.
Of becoming a companion for an African lady.
Yani, that book is a companion to hold you, like as you are becoming. It shows you step here, step here, step here, for you to become the best version of yourself.
All right.
Yeah.
The reason why I'd say even men can use this book to navigate or find the pathway, because listen to these chapters. Own your story. Okay, so it is about everyone owning their story, whether male or female. Just own your story, and then change your story. From owning it,
Take
Change.
the
change.
power.
Take the power and change, because
That's
it's
writing
within
your
you.
story.
All right, and then there's chapter 3 is on forgiveness, because before we step into greatness and becoming ourselves, we have to let go of those things that held us back, the trauma issues we went through. You have to forgive. All right, and then after forgiveness is self-care. You've forgiven, you've let go. Take care of yourself. Reparent yourself, so that you are preparing a Pro Max version of yourself.
Yeah.
Once you've prepared your Pro Max version of yourself, now sharpen the saw. All right. Once you've sharpened the saw and it's you feel like it's ready, now step into greatness.
Right? It's a complete journey.
It's a complete journey.
Like a course.
It's a complete journey. It's a pathway. So this is a pathway that can be used by both men and women, even though mostly it's leaning towards women, where we have a bigger problem. All right. This year we celebrated the International Women's Day, 30 years after the China Convention. And you know what? According to research, the way the state is for us to get to gender equality might take us another 100 years. That is such a long time.
We'll be the ancestors.
This is part of the steps that we need to take for us to become better versions of ourselves, so we can outgrow some of the cultural beliefs.
And the traumas.
Okay, it's a book about women, but I think it's going to save men more than women. Because if you have a woman who goes through all these steps and great steps into greatness, I think most of what you are troubled about, you woman, utakuwa solve.
Yeah.
So I even invite more men
to the launch. Yeah, sure.
And maybe your women are not readers. You can read and find a better way to tell them to take them through the journey. Because it's your problem, by the way, it's not theirs. Having a woman who is not what you'd like them to be, it becomes your problem, not theirs. Exactly. So I'm taking this to my woman.
Wow,
amazing.
Thank you.
I would like us to talk about the launch. When is it happening? Where is it happening? And yes, tell us something about it. I will be there myself.
Oh, thank you so
much. And I want to come with a couple of women.
Kuja na wengi wanaume pia.
Wanaume pia.
Yeah.
So, tell us about the launch. When is it happening and where?
Okay, thank you so much. The launch will be happening on Saturday, this coming Saturday, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Kwanza Place, the one that they used to call Mocha Place. It's opposite Quick Mart. When you're at Quick Mart parking, you can even ask the Socha to tell you where Kwanza Place is, and then it's 4th floor.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the launch, we're gonna have different keynote speakers who are going to speak on some of the topics that we feel are necessary for us to have, conversations that are necessary for us to have. Already confirmed, we have the director Dallas, a very beautiful lady, in and out, called Lydia Manene, who is a mentor to Donna. She's gonna speak about women in business and ownership. All right, because there's an aspect of owning, access, and
doing the business.
All right. And then we have another very good speaker from Kisii Polytechnic, who's also an entrepreneur, called Paris Ngori. She's going to speak about money wounds.
You should not miss that.
Very interesting topic. Money wounds. Very interesting topic. You shouldn't miss her talking about money wounds.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have Edna Kangwana, who's my mentor, both our mentors. And she is going to speak generally on women empowerment, and specifically on limiting cultures and
Cultural
beliefs with the ongoing trending case of the culture aspect. She's gonna shed some light on that. We have the county gender-based violence focal person, Dr. Rosaline David Nyakona, who's going to talk about gender-based violence, now specifically on what is the state of gender-based violence in the Gusii region.
Wow.
All right. We are yet to have other speakers confirming, like someone from Ajiwa Shamji, either Jamil or Shairoz. It's going to be with us to talk to us about what we will confirm for them to speak. So besides us launching the book, we'll also have very critical powerful and intimate, powerful conversations.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the entrance is just 1,000 bob, which will cater for the book. Of course, the conversations are within that 1,000 bob, and also we'll have a high grade tea afterwards.
You're treating us.
Yes,
treating us to
serve that.
greatness. Yeah. Exactly.
Serve the best life.
Wow. I
This
think that's one of the most
also
powerful event that is going to happen in Gusii.
for sure.
I have not, apart from entertainment events, I've not seen us being serious this year. It sounds like, that's big.
Also, by the way, this book was on Amazon before even the printing happened. So anyone who's anywhere in the world can actually buy a copy and read it. It's on Amazon, so anyone who's anywhere in the world can actually get their own copy.
You're taking care of our people from the diaspora.
Yeah, sure.
And those who may not be able to attend, I think we will be informed on how to get a copy if you're within Kenya, but you can still go ahead and get it online, Amazon.
There are also people who like audio copies. We're making plans to make an audio version and even have it on other platforms online that it can be bought from.
Wow. How long did it take you to come up with this?
The first time I held my hand, it was 2020. I've come to appreciate the fact that writing an emotional book, it takes a lot of energy and time. Sometimes you write, you pause for some months.
You take a break.
You take a break. And then you start again. It was an emotional journey. It has really transformed me. Hoping my next book will be faster because now...
Yeah. You're
back
with the most. At least you started.
Yeah, even realizing that you are writing something and throw it to the world to read. It takes a leap of courage. Yeah? Because to some extent there's your story. There's your vulnerability.
It's almost stripping out there.
Exactly. So it's a journey, but it's a journey worth walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is you sharing yourself with us.
Exactly.
These are your experiences and things that you've tested and tried.
Yes.
Into greatness.
Yeah.
Wow. Sitaki kuongea mingi. Let's meet on Saturday.
Yeah, karibuni sana.
Kwanza Place for Mocha.
Please don't miss.
Please, let's show up. I think the society needs fixing.
Yes.
And what you're doing right now is fixing, and especially Gusii people, man. Hapa tunapiga sherehe.
Even people are being encouraged not to marry Gusii men. But our boys now, surely.
Another thing that we're saying, that anyone who's also out there who really would like for this to be helpful to other people, to girls that they're mentoring, to boys that they're mentoring, to their family, they can still order the books for their families, or they can support them to come to the launch as well.
Wow, great. That's great. Watu wangu wa majuu, let's support. Tutakuwa na conversation na nyinyi baadaye tena saa zingine, niwaambie we need to make this happen because we need to come back to a better society when we travel back home. And as Forefront Media, tunataka kukuja pale. Will you allow us to record the event and keep sharing kwa wale watakuja?
Absolutely.
So that our people out there, especially wenye wananunua kutoka Amazon, they can also have the experience of the
Karibuni sana.
Absolutely.
Karibuni
If you'd
sana.
want to even go live while we are there, we're completely open.
Yeah.
Great.
Karibuni sana.
So usikonde ukiwa pale mbali. I really appreciate having you
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Now,
really appreciate
I would
you.
like you to commit yourselves that we will make this a routine. Tutakuwa tunawapatia something on psychology and emotional support. Hizi vitu tumeongelea.
Yeah.
Kwa sababu tunaweza ignore tunaweza ongea kwa vitu, kuna vitu tuna relate nazo haraka especially African men, we need to discuss that, so tutaweza wapatia an episode at least a week.
We will really appreciate
this is you now promising people. They will look at this.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, Steve. Thank you so much for giving us such a platform, because we have realized most of the time we are doing this conversation in the boardroom, and we are so concerned about those women and men who are the grassroots. So you are giving us that platform, something that we really appreciate. Yeah. I'll create time for that.
I want to endorse that message. Sometimes yesterday nilikuwa Nyakora huko ndani kufunza wamama juu ya parenting, and it was 50 women, and I went to another place also, and I met with like 44 women. In A Million Acts, we normally every Sunday we have these conversations. We have like 15-20 people. So here is a platform where we can reach many more people. We have been doing this work for a long time, and we will really appreciate that we can share our knowledge and experience with your audience, and we will also be glad to learn from their feedback as well.
That's great. We have you covered. Now I'm a sharp promise. See you on Saturday. This has been Inside Out. I believe you've seen a different perspective of what we do, and we are grateful to this couple. See you next time. Bye-bye.